What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aliyah, and on today's tutorial I'll be teaching you how to make this reversible cap corset right here. So this reversible capped corset can be worn both sides. So I'll be using this Ankara print, one for one side and the other one for the other side. You also need this medium and hard stiff or gum stay. You don't need too much of the hard one. I'll just be using that part for the cap. So I'll be using these patterns for this tutorial. So I created these patterns in my previous video, so if you haven't checked it out, you can just go ahead and check it out on my channel. I'll also be leaving the link in the description box below. So the length I'll be needing for this is this pattern is way longer, so I'm just going to reduce the length a bit. So on this pattern I've marked out the waist line here, so I'm just coming down the waistline by 3 inches, and then at the side front here by 2 inches, and then I'll go ahead and then blend it all in. So make sure that you put your patterns together like this before doing it. I'm just placing my ruler on it so that it doesn't shift or move. So 3 inches here at the center front, and then 2 inches at the side. So I'm just gonna use my curve to connect the points to meet like this. So this is the length I will need for my cap corset. I don't need all this part, so I'm just gonna use my scissors to cut the sides out. So I'm just gonna do the same thing for the back. So remember the side front line here, I went in by 2 inches. I'm just gonna do the same thing for the side back line here, 2 inches. So this is the back right here. I'm just going to draw a straight line straight into the center back line. So the center back line, so I'll come down by 2 inches here from the waistline. Then I'll use my curve to connect them. So these are how my patterns will look like. I'm just gonna cut it out on lay it out on my African print and then cut it out. So I went ahead to lay my patterns on the first fabric, the first Ankara print. Then I also went ahead to add the allowance, all the allowance I need to add. So if you haven't done that, just go ahead and then do that. And then I placed it on the second Ankara print I'll be using, just like so. So I just folded that one into 2. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it. So I'm done cutting it out, guys. This is how it's going to be looking. So what I'm going to do is I'll be pressing my stiff. This is the medium. I'll be using my medium stiff on all these pieces right here. So I'll be pressing it with my iron on all these pieces for both fabrics, and then I'll be pressing the hard one on just the caps, on all the cap pieces I have here. So that's just what I'm gonna do next, and then I'll show you what to do. So I'm done pressing the stiff on my pieces. Like I said, I pressed my hard stiff on this cap pieces right here, and then I pressed the medium one on these 2 pieces here. Then I went ahead and then joined them with my pins, and then marked the allowance I'll be stitching here. So I'll be using 1/2 inch allowance at this point. So I just went ahead and I marked it on all the pieces like so. after joining them. So I'm just taking it to the machine to stitch it. So I'm done sewing all the seams together, and after sewing I just went ahead to press it open. So you do that for both sides here, and after pressing it, when it comes to the caps too, after stitching the seams together, I just went ahead to snip this side a bit so it doesn't look funny at the other side. So make sure you do that so that this side lays very nice after you're done pressing it. So it's time to join our caps on our pieces like so. So I'm just going to be joining my caps on this piece. Let me join my caps on this piece first. So when you take the piece like this, just go ahead and then place the seam. You see this side here, make sure it matches the seam here, then you just pin it. So I'm just gonna go ahead to blend it to one side here. So I'll pin it from this point here. Make sure that you blend it in very well. So when you're done pinning that side, you're just gonna go ahead to pin the other side. So just make sure you pin the middle first at this point before pinning the side and then the other side. So I'm done pinning both sides. So after pinning, this is how it looks like. So you're just going to take your time and then pin it, and then go ahead and then sew your 1/2 inch allowance from here all the way to the other end. So that's just what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you what to do next. So I'm done stitching my caps. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll be joining the top of this one to the top of that one. So I'm just going to place it like this. Make sure all the seams meet. Then you're just going to go ahead and then pin it down before you sew it. So I'm done pinning it. I'm just going to go ahead and then sew my top part using 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to sew it from this point here all the way to the other side. So I'm done sewing the top part. After sewing it, I went ahead to trim my 1/2 inch a bit so it lays well at the other side. Don't also forget to snip this point here. Just snip it a bit so that if you turn it to the other side, it will lay very nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead and then press this side all the way to the other end here. So after pressing the top, I also went ahead to press 1/2 inch in at both sides for the lower part here and also for the sides here for the center back. So just go ahead and then do that. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be creating bone channels for my capped corset. So if you want to know how wide you need your boning channels, you just go ahead and then measure the width of your boning here and then add a 1/4 at that point. So whatever measurement you get, that's the width you're going to use for your bone channels. So I'll be creating my bone channels on the seams here, for the side, for the underbust here, and then also for the middle part. I'll be creating a boning channel here too. So if you want to leave yours like that, it's fine, but if you also want to create insert a bone at the center front too, it's fine. So I've created my bone channels like you can see. So when you're done, just go ahead and then pin the bottom part here so it stays in place, and then just take it to your machine and then sew the lines you have marked here. So I'm done stitching my bone channels. I forgot to mention that when you're stitching the bone channels, you need to, when you get to this point, you need to stitch in between the seam here like so that it creates that room for the boning. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll be putting in my loops at this point. So these are the loops I'll be using here. It's made out of cotton bias. So in my previous video, I taught how to 2 simple ways I create my loops. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out. So I'm done inserting my loops for both sides, and this is how it's looking like. So the next thing I went ahead to do was insert my boning, which I've already done here. So I use this plastic boning to insert into my bone channels. You can also go ahead and use the ridgeline bone if you want. So after inserting my boning, I'm just gonna press it down so it lays flat. Then when I'm done pressing it, I'm just gonna top stitch at the top part here, and then at the bottom part here too. So right before I wear the dress, I went ahead to create these strips right here. It's very simple and easy to make. So if you want to learn how to make this, just let me know in the comment section so that I'll create a short video for you guys. So this is it, guys. I really love the look. So I kind of noticed that the caps were folding in at this point, so I'll suggest you try using the extra hard stiff or gum stay for the caps instead of the hard one to avoid it from folding in like this. So when it comes to the back, I was supposed to use a brown ribbon, but I had this wine instead. So make sure to use a ribbon that matches both sides. I'll be posting a short tutorial about how I create my modesty panel. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel if you love this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.